Ladies of Reddit, what's the weirdest thing a guy has done during sex? He moaned his own name when he came. Still makes me laugh thinking about it. When I got on top he said welcome aboard. Weird but not his fault. He had an epileptic seizure while in doggy position, fell on my back full dead weight, and was foaming at the mouth while turning purple. I was literally trapped under him for the longest minute of my life, and when I finally got up I called 911. He finally came to after 5 minutes or so and had no idea what happened, had bit a chunk of his tongue off and was mad I called the ambulance. He didn't believe me when I told him about the seizure until he saw his tongue. He texted me a few days later saying they found a small tumor on his brain and has to be on seizure meds for life. Crazy. I had a guy lean on top of me and say you have no idea how long I've wanted to do this to you, and he then proceeded to pray to God to thank him for this opportunity. Randomly punched me in the face and asked, did you like that baby? And no I didn't. Was going down on a guy, felt something hit the top of my head, looked up, and was eating a slice of pizza. Pepperoni had fallen on my head. Obviously, my first thought was I must be doing something wrong and he was bored. Nope. Carry on. Eating and getting my sucked. Two best things in the world and both are happening right now, he said. I couldn't even be annoyed at him when he laid it out like that. First he says he doesn't mind eating out, but is against putting fingers inside. Okay. Now getting down to it and he randomly asks, do you like big porn? I say no. But he's not listening because he is already getting out an iPad to play one of his favorites so we can watch while we go. He was pretending that he was the male actor, complete with timing his strokes with theirs, in a compilation video. Surprise ice cube in my butthole. I was riding on top of my boyfriend, who's a pretty traditional manly man, and I guess it was going so good he suddenly let out a squeaky oh geez that sounded like Morty. We both still laugh about it from time to time. I once hooked up with a guy who told me to slam on his not cum, not squirt, nothing of the sort. Slime. Many years ago, I hooked up with a guy I casually knew who was a bouncer at a club. He wasn't a big, beefy bouncer guy. He was skinny and quirky blonde guy. Imagery for the story. At the time, I did have a stable place, so I was driving as we made our way to his apartment. Along the way, he insisted that we stop at the grocery store. All he bought at the grocery store was a package of hot dogs. I thought it odd, but didn't really think about it much. Well, we get to his house and start doing the deed. He's an awkward fella, for sure. A few minutes in, he pauses and opens his package of hot dogs whilst right on top of me, and starts shoveling them into his mouth and chewing vigorously. He said he needed them for the stamina. Holy shit, what a strange night I'll never forget. Maybe not the weirdest but definitely the biggest turn off. He was starting to sweat profusely and looked me dead in the eye and said, just come already. He told me that he was really into chicks being forcefully transformed into animals or creatures against their will, showed me a few clips of sci-fi movies where this happens, and asked me to act it out. I politely declined and left. This was on a first date. Had sex with a guy once, and after we finished he stuck a G.I. Joe between my tits and said, Sarge, can you hear me? I'm taking the mountains. I wish I could remember all the ridiculous things my BF has done during sex. And I'm sure there will be more in my future. I can only recall him cracking my toes while I was riding him, and when he made me stop mid-blowjob so he could tell me a fan theory of a show we were watching. Like he started excitingly patting my head. Oh. Hey. Stop. I just realized something. He put it in and just started moving side to side vigorously. While doing doggy, my boyfriend typed on my butt like a keyboard, then stuck his in and said I'm in like a 90s hacker movie. Dude mid-thrust said who beat you in Words with Friends by 207 points. He had also joked he was going to do it, so when he finally did we both stopped and just laughed. Then we got right back to it. Second hardest I've ever been. First obviously being that Words with Friends game. I told him to move faster and he heard Mufasa, so he roared. My high school boyfriend was just so bad at all of it. Like, making out left my whole face wet with his slobber. He'd grab my boobs in a vice grip and twist, like he was trying to rip them off. But the worst was a blowjob. He did not give any warning, just slammed into the back of my throat and unloaded with such force some of it shot up and out of my nose. Fortunately we never went further than that, and I can laugh about how awkward it all was now. Said his best guy friend's name at climax. Pretended he was a stepson and I was a stepmom without telling me. Not weird necessarily, but we still get a giggle out of it many years later. One of the first times my now husband and I were intimate he said "I'll have your in my hand. I mean my hand in your I'm a woman with no to be found." He tried to save it but just flubbed it up more, haha.